Good morning. It's 64 degrees this morning. What a difference a week makes. It was 37 last week. So beautiful morning to be out this morning. Today, I did order parts last week at the end of the week. So I'd ordered this little coolant hose about that big because this guy, we tried to make this work, tried to bend this and it's not gonna bend. So we're waiting on that to show up. And while we're waiting on that, I think today I'm gonna work on doing the throttle body because I kind of wanted to rebuild the throttle body as well to some degree. I'm prepared to get the fuel injectors out, clean those things up, and put new rubber and stuff on the O-rings because there's a couple different spots on there that require new rubber. So we're going to do that. So a small distraction here. I want to take this old vinegar out and maybe put some new stuff in there. Try and take a look at this lock on this fuel tank again because we got it stuck. It's rusted in case you're not up to date. We got a rusted lock here that I am trying to unrust. Oh, there's so much rust in there. Like it's a lot cleaner in the one spot where we had the vinegar. Like that's actually viable as a gas tank again, but like the spots the vinegar wasn't high enough, it is just crusty like a prehistoric cave in there. I am starting to wonder if this is a waste. Like there's a threshold here where there's the time versus how much it costs to just get another tank. And there's also just monetary, like how much vinegar do I buy before, and other, you know, WD-40 and other things before I've spent enough on vinegar that I could have bought another gas tank. There's a tipping point here in which this is no longer worth the effort. And you gotta be quick to make that decision because otherwise you'll spend 2 gas tanks worth of money and end up with 1 gas tank. So we may end up playing with the fuel tank later today and seeing if we can do something else with that. But I'm gonna try and at least get a good start on this throttle body because this thing is also probably gonna need some soaking. I'm gonna soak those fuel injectors possibly. We'll see how that works. Did you know that you can shit easier if you sit up straight on the toilet? I'm serious, man. Next time you're slouched over with your hands on with your arms on your knees and stuff, and it just won't come out, sit up straight. I'm telling you, it works. That's your shitty tip of the day. Let's see about taking things apart here. It's all pretty crusty looking. The throttle bodies themselves should be cleaned out. I've got some carb cleaner and my little toothbrush. I can get to scrubbing on those things, but I like to primarily get the fuel injectors out. So these are our 2 fuel rails here. You can see the fuel comes in here, it connects over there and goes down that rail there. And then we've got, but then you can see 2 of our fuel injectors. There's one there, and we got the same thing on the other side. There's one there and one there. So I want to get to those guys. So that means I need to take this fuel rail off. And it looks like it's connected. You can see one connection point there, kind of barely, and then you can see it better over on here. It's the same thing. Looks like a little Allen head bolt we've got there. Those come off, and then we should be able to pull this fuel rail up. So let's flip this over. Get to those easier. And I've got some nice little tools for that. I picked up this set of Allen head wrenches, or hex key set is what they call it, from Harbor Freight. This is like $8, which is just, it's too cheap, man. That's insane. But this is nice and long with a little fancy handle on it, so we should be able to make easy work of this. I'm hoping. That was pretty tight. Guy's popping off there. we can grab that screw out. See if there's anything else holding us back here. Maybe I should disconnect the ends here, huh? Might make sense. Might make our lives a lot easier. Probably should have done that first in terms of order of business. Yeah, I totally should have done that before. This guy's got these little crush washers on the end of it. What's sort of holding us up at this point, the electrical connectors on the back side. Look at all this tubing. Is this necessary? Like, no, we had, the rats chewed on that too. Man. Like, what is going on back here? Why? Why is there so much tubing? I feel like I should replace a bunch of this tubing too. So I need to make sure I label all of these connectors. There's a complex web in here we're trying to navigate. Oh! This stuff is just jammed in there. I'm getting somewhere. There we go. Crap-ola. Look at all the wires, man. Alright, so those are out. I need to label stuff to some degree at this point right now before we get carried away and I lose orientation of things. Try some isopropyl on this and see how much that cleans it up. Seems to work pretty good on dirt. So yeah, just clean this guy up a little bit. Let's mark stuff. Get my pen. Get my little marker. And I just want to give myself some sort of indication of where this stuff goes. So I'm gonna put like a little arrow pointing this way, and then I'm gonna want an arrow on this thing too to let me know that this is what I'm talking about. All the arrows point the same direction. And yeah, so I just know, because if I start taking all these tubes off and whatnot, I mean, I just don't want to get lost here at some point. Just trying to even get my fingers in here to disconnect these fuel injectors is a bit problematic. Wow. Yeah, I can't even reach in there. This one, maybe, but not. Huh? All right, that one I got. All right, sweet. The other one, yeah, this is probably the most complex aspect of the entire bike. It's the setup on this thing. Cannot get that off of that. Ah, there it is. Oh my God. Holy, I still can't get it off. It's disconnected, but there's no room to get it off the clip. Holy shit. Oh, it's so close. Oh, there it is. So that guy's off. Wow. Yeah, I gotta take a breather after that. It's intense. Alright, you can see though that these fuel injectors, hopefully you can see, like, maybe that guy there is how dirty it is down in there. So yeah, we gotta clean all that stuff out. And our throttle bodies, I mean, looks like a mouse was living in here. These guys are quick cleaning as well. So on this fuel injector, we've got a little O-ring down here where it goes into the fuel rail. We've got an O-ring, a big O-ring right here where it goes into the actual throttle body. And then we've also got a little cushion O-ring sort of here where it sort of goes in between the wire connector and the fuel rail, and that sort of gives it, you know, some sort of shock absorbing ability there. I believe I've got all of those things, replacement O-rings, to put on here. All right, so we've now got 4 clean-ish fuel injectors. I think I'm gonna set these aside for this second, while I continue to dive into the throttle body and see. I might have to order more hoses, which is annoying. We'll see what we end up doing here, how far this thing goes. This is daunting. The amount of stuff on here is daunting. I'd like to take some carb cleaner and just spray the crap out of all this. Trying to get some scrubby scrub action here. Just threw some soapy water on here. Try and get some of this to soak a little bit, and then hopefully it'll just spray off a lot easier with the carb cleaner. Some degreaser in here. All right, so I've sprayed everything off. Gone through like a whole bottle of cleaner, and it's still really gritty pieces of dirt all over, but it's much cleaner than it was, but it's still got a long ways to go. I really just want to take everything apart and just go crazy. I don't want to not be able to put it back together. So like these hoses they're probably still usable. I could probably take them off and refurbish them, so to speak. And by that I mean like oil them up, like literally put oil on them. That's my plan, to help to sort of rejuvenate their little petroleum-based butts. Helps improve their skin. So the throttle body has got coolant running through it. There's like some temperature controlled thing up here, isn't there? So so that coolant comes up into this guy here, and it's heating up some element that then when it expands, it opens up something over here. That's interesting. What are we doing over here? Huh. That pushes this open. And then that operates all this stuff here. So then we've got air coming from or to, I don't know which, the throttle. That opens up this and opens up all 4 of them. So then there's air going, but there's just air between all of these throttle bodies. For what purpose? I think this is what they call a wax element, where there's literally like wax in here that heats up and expands, and that's what opens up this valve here. I think that's what's going on there. Let's try it. A couple screws, got like 4 screws on top of here. Holding this guy together. Probably gonna get a separate bin just for this phase here, because this makes me a little bit nervous. Now that should come up. Now allow us to get in here a little bit better. Really get crazy here. Just want to be able to raise this up enough so I can get things out of the way and get more access, so I can clean things a little bit better. Yeah, that's a little bit. It's a little bit better. This is where it all went wrong. So this is where I start mixing up the little injector plugs. Electrical plugs for the fuel injectors. We need to label that stuff. A paint pen here. We're gonna do, this is totally random. 1, 2. This is no correlation to the actual cylinders. Let's adjust so I can put this back together. Getting messed up, and then you get all this back together on the bike, and can you imagine? Oh my god, where things are just, the bike is just not firing the way it should, and you're like, why wouldn't I do that? You could spend hours trying to figure out that it was because you swapped one of these connectors to the wrong spot. Just so I can get in here and clean. I mean, how ridiculous. Well, this seems a lot cleaner than it was. I'm feeling better. I just don't like it when I'm like, it's like everything is like, I'm touching it and it's just this never ending like spread of filth and grime. You can feel it on your little fingers, just that grime is everywhere. You can't get away from it. Not that I really mind if stuff is dirty, because it's gonna get dirty again. I don't want to really waste my time cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. I put it on the bike, it's just gonna get dirty again when I put it on the bike and ride it. Look at all these hoses. There's only so much I'm gonna do here. Alright, let's try and start putting things back together. I just don't want to get too carried away here. I wouldn't mind replacing these hoses, but that might be a different day. Or never. That might be never. I'll look them up and see if they're even available. That's one major consideration. There are a number of things on this bike that are not available anymore. Like basically the big radiator hoses, none of those are available. All right, stick these guys back. Yeah, I really do like working on doing stuff like this because it's peaceful, man. I'm out here by myself. It's early in the morning. Nobody's bothering me, and I can just get stuff done. There's nobody else out. I mean, I just opened up the garage door and there's like still dark out there. Like nobody is out doing anything. And there's a beauty in that, you know? It's really nice to be up before everybody else. I mean, it also prevents me from, just out of a feeling of empathy or some kind, of like going out and riding my bike around. Like I wouldn't mind getting the little Grom out, even though it's not like registered and street legal. Just running around the neighborhood. That'd be fun. And early in the morning would be nice. Nice time to do that. But at the same time, it would also be a very inappropriate time to do that because the neighbors would not enjoy it because it's a bit loud. That I'm sure it would wake some people up. Notably, my girlfriend. she would let me know. All right, let's just put this thing back together at this point, right? I mean, we've cleaned it as best we can. All right, so you're not supposed to clean out these throttle bodies here with carb cleaner because they're supposed to be coated with like a moly grease. And I totally did that. I totally cleaned them out with carb cleaner. So I'm gonna go ahead and re-grease them. I've got some grease here, some moly grease, and I can't imagine that they had much going on in the way of grease after 75,000 miles. Hopefully we're improving things, ultimately. If the bike runs, I'll consider this having worked. If it doesn't run, then crap. Why are these coated with moly grease is my question. What is that supposed to do? It creates a better seal? Not really sure. So with these fuel injectors, coming back to these, I should be able to, with a 9-volt battery, open up the valves on here and get some cleaning fluid through there just to make sure these guys are working. So let's see if we can make the valve open first. A couple little alligator clip guys here that I've made. Hook that up to the battery first. Hook one up to the injector. And we'll touch the other one up there and see if it'll click. And it does. It does click. Can you hear that? All right, and then like in theory, you spray stuff through there, the carb cleaner through there as you're touching it. I don't know if I can coordinate all that stuff or not. My major goal in getting this thing, taking all this stuff apart today, was specifically so that I could ensure that these injectors were clear. That's really what I'm trying to accomplish here, so that when the engine's all together, that's one thing I don't have to worry that it's not running correctly because things are clogged up. I'm trying to let some fluid in from the front end here, trying to get fluid to flow through. There we go. We got some coming out. Awesome. Awesome. That makes me a lot happier. There's actually like little setups you can buy. They're specifically for this. It'd probably work a lot neater than what I'm doing. All right, so I've got one injector here that is not draining. Seems to be a bit clogged up. It does work. I can hear it clicking, like the valve itself. The solenoid is working, but the fluid is not draining past. I was able to get a little bit to go past that time, but it still is draining pretty slow compared to the other ones. There we go. That did something. So yeah, I'm just like a lot of these things, like I'm just replacing all the rubber O-rings on this bike. I'm trying, like this is another thing where I'm just trying to be proactive and get this thing, give myself the best chance of the bike running the first time I try to start it, rather than having it not run and then having to dig through the engine to try and diagnose why it's not running. I'd rather it just start and run. And so I'm trying to do a whole bunch of stuff to try and get in preparation for that, to make sure that that's a real possibility. I don't know if you can see it drip out the end or not. But yeah, so it does drain through. Let's see if it'll spray through on this. Let's see if we get this injector to spray through or not. Yeah, almost. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together now. Put all these little fuel injectors back in there. We'll put new O-rings and stuff on there. Actually, let's get the O-rings, let's get that stuff out first. So that should be some there, because they're in the little sets of 4. And then those guys, yes. All right, I'm gonna double check numbers on these to make sure I'm correct, but these look like the correct ones, and they're all in sets of 4. So indeed, these are the correct O-rings. So we're going to grease these O-rings up with some of this silicone grease. The service manual says to do it with engine oil. It just says oil on there, which I assume is engine oil. We are going to use this silicone grease.
Humperdinck, excellent shop mascot.
You need to put Humperdinck out here. The girlfriend wants to give us a dog for the shop. She has too many dogs. She has 3 dogs, and then there's 2 foster dogs right now. So it's a lot of dogs, man. All right, so let's we're gonna swap out this guy. This is our example fuel injector, and then I'll do it for all the rest of them. So we've got this guy on the end, comes off. We've got this little guy right here, also comes off on the very, very end. Oops, had it there for a second. Get that out of there. That guy comes off. And then this is a little cushion guy right down here, right there. You can see that. So that comes off as well. And there we go, that's our plain fuel injector. Put the new one on there. And this cushion thing probably does not need to be greased, but I'm gonna put some grease on there. Help keep them from drying out, essentially. That's kind of what my theory on that. It's kind of like our little cushion. And then we'll get out, now we'll get out the one on the very end here. A little one. Put this guy on here. There's that one. Now, we just need the big fatty on the end. Whoa, that's way too much. So that guy's lubed up. Put him on here. I'm gonna go ahead, stick this back on. I think it might be easier to put these into the throttle body first. I can even connect them to the electronics here. That's satisfying. So satisfying. Yeah, I like that order of things. Look at that. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can get this guy plugged in here. How difficult that's gonna be. All right, it's gonna be difficult. So what I'm gonna do, instead, I'm gonna remove this guy again, this cover, this sort of top part here. I'll undo all this. So I can more readily get to things. And now I can move this aside a little bit and get my little connector out and actually connect this thing. There we are. All right, let's move on to the next one. There we are, we've got a little connector in there. We're good now. Next fuel injector, get the old stuff off. Get that out of the way so we don't get it mixed up with anything. Then get our new parts out. Get them sort of lubed up. Now we can install this guy down in here. And all the fuel injectors are the same parts. I mean, they're totally interchangeable. It doesn't matter which one came out of which spot. I can put it back and wherever. It is the little connectors here that are the most vital. They have to go exactly where they came out because there's the whole firing order. The engine fires, the spark goes, and then you've got the fuel injection going at precise moments. And so the engine just fires this connector at a precise moment that's supposed to correlate to this fuel injector. So if I swap this connector to a different fuel injector, we'd be in a lot of trouble. The engine would not run because it wouldn't have fuel at the same time it had spark. So you'd be putting fuel to a different cylinder when it did not have spark. So we'd be a complete disaster, really. And that would be a pain to try and track down. This is starting to feel good. I'm starting to feel like I'm doing something productive all of a sudden. It's been kind of a slow morning in that I feel like I spent a lot of time just cleaning up stuff, which is pretty boring. But it gets us to where we want to go. A nice functional engine. It's not clean, but it's very functional, and that is where we want to go. I've been watching, not sort of accidentally watching some videos on discipline. I feel like I'm fairly disciplined, you know? Like I get up early in the morning. Like I get up at 3:30 to get out here and get this stuff done. So that's the way that my life works, because I'm trying to have, you know, some decent work-life balance and all that stuff, right? And so in order for that, in order for me to actually have work-life balance in a sense, because I have other responsibilities. I have a significant other, a girlfriend that she has expectations of me. You know, that I'm going to be available to help out around the house. And She rescues dogs, you know, that's her thing that she likes to do. She expects me to help out with that to some degree. And there's this whole balance of things in the house with, there's like a dog schedule when they come in and out because they don't all just hang out together. We have shifts. The foster dogs don't really hang out with our dogs that live here all the time. So I got to get out here early, get my stuff done, and then be available to hang out with some dogs. So I got to get up 3:30, get something to eat, get my little exercises done because I'm trying to like stay in shape. One thing I've discovered as I get older is that staying in shape is harder. You know, like when I was young, I used to kick ass, you know, like I didn't even think about it. It was easy. When I was young, I could slack off and then I could always get back in shape pretty quick. But when you get older, it seems like it's more and more important that you stay in shape. Once you get out of shape, it's hard to get back into shape. So I try my best to stay in shape and get up every morning and do stuff. Otherwise, I feel like as I get older, I'm gonna get screwed, man. The quality of life will go down significantly, and I don't want that to happen. So I want to be able to keep coming out here and doing this stuff, having fun with little motorcycles and doing whatever I want to do. So all right, I'm going to try plugging this one in and then installing it. Is that a possibility? Oh yeah, that's pretty slick. All right, one more. This one is done. This is exciting. I mean, this is kind of thrilling to get to this point where like you can start to feel the potential of the engine running, you know, like that's what we're moving towards. I'm gonna be so happy when that engine fires up. However long that takes to happen, I don't know. All right, get this guy in. Can we plug it in first again? Because that was pretty slick. Oh yeah. Yeah, boy. Yeah. All right, so that's in now. I can go ahead, put this stuff back together. All right, everything is on there. Torque these down. So now I'm gonna we try and get these fuel rails back on here. All right, so I need these little hoses to go back on here at this point. They just sort of slide on here. There's not much holding them on there. There's no hose clamps to speak of. They just go in here, wedge in here, and probably make my life a lot harder in terms of trying to, like, there's no gap in there between that hose and that fuel injector. So get this guy lined up. Let me clean this out a little bit more. All right. I'm just thinking whether or not I should clean out this fuel rail. Crap. Probably should. Go ahead and spray this guy out a little bit as well. All right, this should be dry now. I'm gonna go ahead, see if we can get this on, line it up correctly. This is the easy side. The other one has that where the hose is probably gonna give me a problem. Bam! All right, that was nice. Get my little bolts out here. Reinstall these. I realize this isn't like, I feel like I haven't gotten much done today because all we've done was mess with this thing, but it's just taking me a couple hours, man, to mess with this. I feel great about it now. Now that we're getting to the end. I feel like I'm happy that I've got something. I feel like I've done good, and this is a worthwhile endeavor. All right, let's see if we can get this one done. I got my little arrow, so I know this one's supposed to go that way. And Line everything up. Bam, bam. All right. Fantastic. Get my little Allen head bolts back out. Flip this over. But I'm really looking forward to this thing running. I think this will be a cool bike, man. I think it will sound cool. I'm hoping it will ride cool. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's a sport touring, and there's a big difference between sport touring and like sport. But because I've never ridden either of those, I think this will be pretty thrilling for me. When I do ride it, it's gonna be like, holy crap. It'll be the most powerful bike I've ever ridden, because it's like 100 horsepower. My current bike is like 50. This will be a double the horsepower, which is just bonkers to think about. And that's really the cool thing about bikes, is how the power to weight ratio on a motorcycle is just phenomenal. All right, so this guy, now we've got the little connector here between the fuel rails to go back on there. That's this guy. So we've got a little crush washer guy there, or sealing washer, I'm sure is how they refer to it. And then we have this guy, a little sort of banjo connection thing here, which is pretty fun. There we go. Then we got another crush washer, and for some reason, that's all that came off of there. One of them did not have another crush washer on the outside, which is, I don't feel like that's right. So now I'm like, oh, I need to find another crush washer. Let's see what I've got. I've got some brake line stuff. I don't know if that will be the right diameter or not. All right, over here, brakes. Somewhere, brakes right here. Got some stuff. I don't know if that might work. These are copper, which is a different material than what's on there. I think those might be aluminum or something. I don't think it should make any difference. Not sure, as long as this fits on here. I'm like, it doesn't fit. This is a smaller washer, so that's not gonna work. I looked up the parts diagram, and there is supposed to be a sealing washer on here, which is what you would expect. Otherwise this is gonna leak, basically. So someone has been in here previously, because there definitely wasn't on there when I took it apart. I need to get one, so that should be a 12 mil. So that's what we're looking for. All right, I'm gonna run to the store and see if I can get some copper washers and complete our task here. I really love riding that motorcycle. That is a lot of fun. Just running that thing to the store and back, love it. Especially when you first started up, like that, just the signal that you're doing something cool, man. Coolness is happening right now. All right, so what I got was these guys here, just copper washers, just straight copper washers. This should do the trick. So let's see. Let's see how it compares. It's got a larger outside diameter, but the inside diameter looks the same. That should do the trick in terms of sealing this stuff up. All right, let me see if I can find torque specs for that. All right, so 16 foot-pounds is what I found for torque specs on these guys. And then the little Allen head bolts, those are supposed to be 7 foot-pounds. Good.